champions, my friends.
Hola Bobcats, it's Mrs. G here with a storybook session. I'm going to be sharing today a story based on some real people, some NFL superstars, Tiki and Ronde Barber. They are twins and they're going to share in their story, My Brother's Side, some of the adventures with sports that they had when they were growing up. Our illustrator today is Barry Root, and he drew the pictures for our book. At the end of the reading of the story, I'm going to share with you some true facts about their NFL football careers, and hopefully you could learn a little bit more about these two NFL stars and their story, My Brother's Side. The story is based on Tiki and Ronde Barber's life, and they shared their stories and helped the author, Robert Burleigh, actually write some of the words for the story. The illustrator is Barry Root, and this is read by permission of the publisher, Simon and Schuster Books for Young Readers. It was summertime at last. School was out and baseball season was in full swing. Once Tiki and Ronde finished their chores, they could play until dinner time. The twins rode their bikes all over town. So just before lunch, off they went, side by side, as was the case in pretty much everything they did. Today, they wanted to show their friend Jason a new secret place to ride bikes. There was a large open lot where workers were building a store. And since it was Saturday, the workers were gone. "Betcha can't," said Jason. "Can too," Ronde shot back. "Watch this, you guys." And as Tiki and Jason watched, Ronde slowly rode his dirt bike up along the steep edge. Whoa there, Ronde thought. Easy does it. The bike zigged and zagged and bounced, but Ronde steadied himself and held on. "See," said Ronde. "Now you try if you're so good." "I'll show them," Tiki thought. And he rode his bike to the far side of the huge dirt pile, and he popped a wheelie. Then he started up the hill. He stood high on his pedals, pushing with all of his might, and the bike wheels spun wildly, spitting up dirt. Then the loose dirt on the hill's edge suddenly gave way, and Tiki toppled sideways, over the handlebars, down, down, burnout. He lay there blinking. His head was reeling, but his knee hurt much more. Ronde and Jason dropped their bikes and ran up the hill towards him, and the boys leaned over Tiki. Ronde pointed. It's bleeding kind of bad. I even see something white. I think it's your bone." Jason put his hand over his eyes. "I don't want to look," he said. "We better go get your mom, quick." In the doorway, Dr. Myers was whispering. "He needs a lot of rest, Mrs. Barber." Tiki called out from his bed. "Mom, I'm bored. And Tiki's mother just looked the doctor in the eye. "What about his leg, doctor? Will he be able to run like Ronde and the other kids?" And for a moment she remembered when the twins were born, smaller than most babies, and how the doctor at that hospital had told her to take special care of them. She had thought then, like now, that no matter what, the boys would always have each other. "It's a very serious injury," Dr. Myers answered. "I'm not sure he will ever play sports again." Mrs. Barber glanced at her son. "Oh, please, let's just not tell him anything like that," she said, and then the doctor walked slowly towards the front of the house with her. On the way to the door, Ronde raced past them. "Hey, Mom!" And he was heading straight for the boys' room. But when their mother returned to the boys' room, the twins were gone. She hurried back to the back door, and there was Tiki's crutch on the kitchen floor. Mother looked out the window and saw Ronde on the street tossing a baseball to his brother, who was hobbling and hopping on one leg, but still managing to catch and throw the baseball. "Ugh, inside, at once, both of you!" Tiki groaned. "Mom, there's an all-star baseball game tonight, and the team really needs me." "Yeah, Mom, I haven't ever played without Tiki. He's the fastest guy we have. Can he even—" "No," she said firmly. And she looked over to Tiki. "And as for you, Buster, Ronde will have to play for both of you, because you're resting for as long as it takes." Ronde broke in. "Oh, don't give up, Tiki. I'll hit one tonight for you and for me." Tiki glanced up. Really? Will you? I promise, Tiki said with a grin. For the both of us. July was long and hot, and whenever Ronde would go out to play baseball, Tiki would say to him, maybe I could just... Not today, Tiki's mother would respond, and he knew that she meant it. In the afternoon, Ronde and Tiki sat in their room, talking brother to brother. The wall was filled with pictures of Bo Jackson, Michael Jordan, Walter Payton, other sports idols of theirs. And above the dresser, there was a picture of the twins themselves, smiling and holding a trophy. Ronde pointed to that photo. Do you remember that game? Do I ever? Tiki moved his raised leg to the other pillow. They really loved to replay that special game in their minds. The County Super Bowl Pee Wee Little Leaguers, the Cave Spring Vikings, and all of their funny purple uniforms. Remember what Coach always said? Ronde is number 21, Tiki is 22, because R comes before T, and this is the only way I can tell you two apart. Both boys burst out laughing. You remember that great big kid on the Browns, Tiki said? I thought he'd run over us like a truck. Me too. But the bigger they are, the harder they fall. You can just ask Coach Mike. And that field, when I'd run for a long touchdown, I thought I'd never reach that goal line. But you did, and we stuck out together and won. Remember the song they played over that loudspeaker afterwards, Ronde asked him? We are the champions. I can still hear it, Tiki said. August was better, just a little. Baseball season was winding down, and for Tiki, it was still the longest summer that he could ever remember. Ronde dug in at the plate. Tiki sat in the dugout with his legs stretched straight out, cheering on his brother. Ronde rode his bike. Tiki had to sit under a tree, waiting for his brother to come around the block one more time. Ronde practiced his sprints. Tiki had to watch, counting the weeks until football practice would begin. Ronde walked fast, but Tiki, he limped behind. Come on, Tiki, you can do it. I know you can. We're supposed to meet Chris in 5 minutes. I'm trying. Wait up. You know I won't leave you behind. Tiki's mother would tell him stories about when the boys were very little and how the doctor had told her that they shouldn't ever play too hard. You two were never the biggest at your age, but you always worked hard at what you loved, and now, look at you now, their mother laughed, playing all the time. Look at him now, Tiki grumbled, pointing to Ronde. I'm never going to run fast again, and football practice starts in 2 weeks. Their mother paused. Tiki, do you remember when you both tried out for the basketball team and you didn't make it? You didn't quit then, did you? Tiki was silent. Well, it's like I've always told you. You believe in yourself, and others will too, she said softly. Just wait, and you'll see. Finally, the doctor gave the orders, no more brace. Tiki bent his knee back and forth. Go slow, the doctor said. Take it easy. Let's go outside, Ronde whispered to him. And Ronde took the old football out of the closet and passed it to his brother. It was the first football the twins had ever owned, a gift from their grandmother. It was all rough now, scratched and worn, but it felt good in Tiki's hands. They hurried downstairs and outside to the parking lot. They warmed up, passing the ball back and forth. Go on out, Ronde said. I'll hit ya. So Tiki moved gingerly on his stiff leg over the pavement. Ronde faded back, calling out, sounding like a sports announcer. Ronde Barber looks for a receiver. He spots his brother near the 10-yard line. A perfect spiral! Bullseye! Caught by Tiki Barber! Tiki calls back to his brother in his own announcer's voice. He waved the football over his head as both boys shouted at the same time, Touchdown! And finally, September arrived, and Tiki felt stronger and stronger. Football practice was every afternoon, even on the hottest days. But the boys didn't mind. They were teammates, together again. Before practice, Ronde and Tiki sat under the bleachers with their notebooks spread out. Homework first, their mom always said. It's not hard if you do a little every day. So Ronde worked on math, his favorite subject, and Tiki read his history book. Sometimes he liked to dream of becoming an astronaut. Finally, the whistle sounded and the twins ran out with the others to the center of the green field. At practice, they always ran everywhere. One of Coach Mike's favorite sayings was always, "Only two people walk here, Coach Mike and the mailman." Everyone warmed up and Ronde jumped up and down. Tiki stretched his leg. So far, so good. Today, no one was wearing pads. It was a practice, and he felt so light on his feet. "I can do it," Tiki told himself. The offensive team practiced running wide around the end, and Tiki sprinted outside and tiptoed down the sideline again and again. But just before practice was over, racing back, he slipped and fell. Ronde was there first, looking down with a frightened gaze at him. "Tiki, are you all right?" Tiki felt his leg. "Okay," he said, smiling. "Yeah, I'm okay." Ronde reached down a hand and pulled his brother up, and together they ran back to the huddle. After practice, they climbed up to the top of the bleachers, waiting for their mom. And below them, the field was empty. Ronde looked down. "Do you ever think of us playing in the big stadium?" he asked Tiki, "in front of a great big crowd?" "Really big?" "Yeah, like Super Bowl, like that." "That would be cool," Tiki said. "Coach Mike says that if we..." I know, he told me. "We have to keep working at it every day and play our best." "You know what I think?" Ronde asked his brother. "What?" Tiki replied. Ronde grinned and held up his hand. "Let's go for it." And the twins high-fived just as they heard their car horn. They pumped down and ran the wooden rows 2 at a time and raced to the car. "What's up with you two?" their mom asked them as they piled into the back seat. "We were just talking." "About?" "Oh, about stuff, about becoming really, really good football players." "Yeah, about even playing in the Super Bowl." Their mother smiled and she started the car. "Well," she said, "maybe, if you work hard enough." Saturday morning, it was game time at last. The twins' small faces stared out from underneath their helmets. Their mom was there as always, watching and cheering. The boys looked up at their mother. "Give it your best," she said. "Don't forget, play proud." The opponents were going to kick off, and the receiving team raced onto the field. Ronde and Tiki were the farthest back, deep side by side. The kicker raised his hand. He moved forward with short steps, and then the football soared high into the air, end over end. "Yours!" Ronde called out as Tiki circled beneath it. "Follow me, to the left, all the way." Tiki opened his arms, caught the ball. Play proud, he thought, and he was racing now with Ronde just beside him, their feet flying over the grass. Tiki and Ronde, Ronde and Tiki together, all the way. Champions. Brothers, side by side always. So our 2 NFL superstars are Tiki Barber and Ronde Barber, who are brothers. And I'm going to just read a few true facts, and I'll show you some of the pictures of them throughout their NFL career. So Ronde Barber played 16 seasons in the NFL. He played for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He had 47 interceptions as a defensive back, and he had over 1,000 tackles in his career. He won the Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Super Bowl 37, I believe. His brother, Tiki Barber, played 10 years in the NFL, and he played with the New York Giants. He was a running back, and in the course of his career, he had over 55 touchdowns and over 10,000 yards that he rushed for, so that's pretty cool. Hope you enjoyed listening to their story of their childhood, My Brother's Side.
We are the champions.